Hi, guys. Welcome back to Beauty Talks. We are from Mississology, and we have our guest here, Charlotte. She is Miss Universe Singapore 2024. Can you please describe yourself, darling?
Hi guys, my name is Charlotte Lucille Chia. I'm 26 years old and I'm your Miss Universe Singapore 2024. I'm a full-time public relations account executive, but I also do modeling on the side and I'm also the director of comms for the Singapore's Women's Association. This is a non-governmental, non-profit organization in Singapore that is dedicated to empowering women, children, and the elderly.
Oh, that's nice. If you can summarize yourself and describe in 3 words, what are those 3 words?
I think the first word is definitely humility.
Uh huh.
I believe that, even though I'm Miss Universe Singapore, there's no end to learning, and learning can come from
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, including the people around me and the fans. The second word I would say is confidence. I'm very grounded in who I am as a person, and I don't feel the need to sort of change myself depending on, if there's any comments like, dye your hair. I wouldn't be going out to doing that. And the third word I would think is authentic. I believe in your most authentic self, and that's the most important part.
Okay, thank you. What is something I would be surprised to learn about you?
Ooh, I think something you'd be surprised to learn about me is that I speak 4 languages, maybe.
Wow, so
I
basically you're a polyglot.
A little bit, I would say. So I speak English, Chinese, Korean, and Japanese.
Wow. Did you study it all or you just, acquired them?
Okay. For English, I mean, that's my native language, so that's my first
Uh-huh.
language. Chinese, my grandma's Shanghainese, so I only speak to her in Chinese.
Uh-huh.
That's my second language. And then for Japanese and Korean, I actually learned them at the same time in university in Sydney.
Wow. Okay. So you're from Sydney. You grew up in Sydney.
No, so I grew up in Singapore, but at the age of about 16, I moved to Sydney for higher
Have to
education
study.
to study,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. How did you prepare for this year's pageant? And if you can describe a little bit about your national costume and your long gown.
Well, for this year's pageant, actually, it happened a little bit abruptly. So, a little known fact, I actually
Mm-hmm.
submitted my application for this year's Miss Universe Singapore 2 hours before the deadline.
Oh, really?
I was going a bit back and forth over it, and some of my friends were like, you should just try for it, you should just go for it. So in the end, one of them finally succeeded in convincing me, so I submitted my application. And the moment that happened, I'm a big planner. I created a
Mm-hmm.
slide deck the way that I would create a campaign slide deck for work, and I put
Mm-hmm.
everything that I needed to do to prepare, passarella training,
True.
interview prep. I started scheduling my gym appointments, but I also needed to schedule everything because I do work full time and I have responsibilities outside pageantry. So that was
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that I did once I submitted my application. And I also did put in a request for leave.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a lot of leave because from
Yeah.
national pageants and now you're going to international. So, how about your gown and your national costume?
So my gowns only just arrived in Singapore today. I
Okay,
just
just
received them.
perfect. Uh-huh.
So just in time. I would say for my gowns, you can look out for multiple colors.
Ah, okay. And
Uh,
who's the designer? Can we disclose the designer?
the designer is NTK Kangchun, so he's a
Okay.
Vietnamese designer, and the reason why I chose to work with him is because I actually was introduced to him earlier in the year when I was
Mm-hmm.
doing Vietnam International Junior Fashion Week. And
Okay.
I love the designs that he did. So when it came time for them to ask me, who are you thinking about working with? I was like, I worked with this guy. He's really genuine, really sweet, and really young. He's a very young designer. He's in his early 20s. And I was like, you know
Oh,
what? Let's bring his designs to the international stage. So I was very happy to be able to work with him and that all of that worked out.
it's not just one color. It's like multiple colors.
It's at least two colors for
Uh-huh.
I'm still deciding which gown would be the preliminary, which will be the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
then
from both, from same designers.
it's both from the same designer. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, oh, that's nice. At least you can showcase new designs from new upcoming artists, designers. And the national costume.
For the national costume, I can say that there is a cape. I
Uh-huh.
can say that it is mostly white. but there is
Okay.
also some gold.
Okay, that's nice. So this year's competition is very um crazy because it's like 130 candidates.
Yes.
What what's your strategy to be seen, or what's your edge from the other candidates?
So I mean, for strategy wise, I think a big part of pageantry is, how you present yourself and how you
Mm-hmm.
interact with the fans. I know Miss Universe always gets the most interaction. There's always people in the lobby waiting to greet you and meet you. So I've prepared a lot of outfits to change into so that every
Mm-hmm.
time I greet the fans, it'll be in something that is new and exciting for them that they can look out for.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so now we're going to the lighter side of this interview. You just have to choose this or that. Okay, coffee or tea?
I think tea and
Savory or sweet?
savory.
Savory. Lights on, lights off.
Lights off.
Swimsuit or gown?
Gown.
Gown. Love or crown?
Crown.
Crown. The one who loves you or the one you love?
The one who loves me.
Okay. Handsome but not so brainy, or brainy but not so handsome?
I think handsome but not so brainy.
Okay, no worries. Now it's the serious part of this interview. So we are going to be doing the question and answer portion, Miss Universe edition. So you only, yeah, just try to answer within 30 seconds clock. So it's also a practice for you for the question and answer. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first question. Do you think happiness can be measured or quantified?
For me, I think happiness can't be measured or quantified. Happiness is a feeling that you feel, and therefore it's through your experiences and through the happiness that you share with others in moments and fleeting feelings. That's when you find that you're most happy. And it's when you're experiencing it, that's when you know you're happy. So I don't think you can quantify it. It's just something that
Mhm.
you feel and experience.
Okay. Yeah, that's also very true because it can also be relative, right? Like happiness
Yeah,
can be different from every person. The way how you do your feelings, it's cannot be measured.
of
Okay,
course.
number 2. Are trans women women?
Yes, definitely trans women are women. And especially since, one of the Miss Universe Singapore contestants this year, Katricia, she's trans. Seeing her journey and seeing how powerful she is as a woman, I thought, you know, trans women are women. And sometimes it's easy to go and label them as trans women, but really they're just women. They all have the same dreams,
Mhm.
aspirations, and feelings as any other women. So I believe that trans women are women.
Oh, thank you for that. I think the one you're talking about is the one who joined Miss International Queen from Singapore.
Yeah, she
And
was
I
the first runner
salute
up last
Singapore
year.
for being open. I think,
Yeah,
is she the first Asian trans women to join? Because
I think,
normally, maybe
yeah,
yes.
I think she's also the first trans woman in Singapore ever
Ever,
this year.
right?
Ever.
And
So she's a,
it's the
yeah,
first time that Singapore allowed
first
it.
time ever. And the first time Singapore has actually raised the age limit. So she's actually older than the normal age limit as well. So she's in her
Okay.
30s and she's a trans woman. So I thought, wow, it was really impactful for her to be there because she was already breaking barriers and she was doing so many positive things.
That's true. Last year there were like two trans women in Miss Universe stage, but this year nobody. There's nothing. But anyways, I think it was a good thing for Singapore to allow,
Yeah.
because not a lot. I mean nothing. I think with Asian countries allowing trans women to join Miss Universe. Okay, next question. Should pageantry promote diversity?
I think Pageantry definitely should be promoting diversity. And the reason why I say this is because a beauty queen is not just a beauty queen. She's not just a title and not someone just to be an aspirational figure. She's also representative of the people around her. She's the representative of a community across the world. And we're not all the same shapes and same
Hmm.
sizes and same ages and appearances. So I think definitely to have that representation on the stage is very, very important.
Yes, that's true. Okay, number four. How can you differentiate a good and a bad person?
I think the best way to differentiate a good and a bad person is through the actions. Is through observing how they treat the people around them, whether they keep their word, and also how they treat the people who might be lesser than them. So it comes to service staff, it comes to, you know, the cleaners, everyone around them should be treated equally. Because if they are treating someone very nicely and then looking at someone else and treating them lesser than, then that tells a
Mhm.
lot about their personality and how they view other people.
Okay, that's a very good answer. And last question. This is kind of very social issues. The
Yes.
United Nations has developed 17 sustainable development goals for 2030. Do you think it will solve some of the social problems by the year 2030?
I think that it won't solve some of the social problems by 2030. And the reason why I say this is because
Mm-hmm.
we are currently not on track for some sustainable development goals. We're still There's still so much more work to be done. But I will say that having the sustainable development goals helps us shape our mindset as a society towards what are the issues that are most important, most pressing, and guides
Mm-hmm.
us in terms of our community development, our social development, and also gives a government a framework to work towards. So while I don't think that it will solve a lot of things by 2030 because there's more work to be done, I think it's an excellent start.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Lovely answer, darling. Very nice. Okay, we'll come to the final parts of this interview. Um, I would like to ask you from among the candidates that you have seen, I know that you have a group chat. For sure, you're stalking them in Instagram as well.
For sure.
Apart from you, who would you consider is a front runner? Just choose one.
Hmm. Well, definitely, I think that Thailand and Philippines are
Mm,
doing
nice.
great things. I mean, Opal, she's doing amazing work with breast cancer. So I
Mm-hmm.
really salute her for really bringing that forward and driving that change in her community. And then for Chelsea, I mean, she did so well at the national stage. I remember when she walked out in her white evening gown, I was like, wow, she's got that aura, there's something about her you want to keep watching. So I definitely want to keep watching her as well.
Have you met any of the candidates in person or
I've met
not
I've
yet?
met Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong, and Macau because we're all under the same organization.
Oh, really? Okay, so there's like
Yeah.
four franchises with the same
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah,
Okay.
including me, five. So
Oh, if you could choose one roommate, would it be from them
I think, because we've managed to bond and we actually stayed
already?
together
Yeah.
when I was in KL, I think, it'd be nice to have a roommate from another country just so I
Uh-huh.
can experience a different culture and get to know someone on a deeper level. Because you really will bond with your roommate, I
True.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you spend most of your time.
Yeah.
And we all know that there's a lot of countries with sash factor. They
Yes.
have like bigger fan base. But for you, who would you consider as a dark horse? It's like not a sash factor country, but can possibly win.
Can possibly win, but not a sash factor country.
Yes, like
Hmm.
not there's no fan base at all.
Hmm. Well, I think definitely Samoa.
Mm-hmm.
This year's Miss Samoa was the first runner at Miss Global last year. And I remember watching her journey at Miss Global because I had a friend who was competing at Miss Global last
Oh,
year. So I remember when she first walked on stage for the opening and she gave her speech. I thought that was a very powerful speech that she gave. So I think, she's got the communication skills down and she's got like a lovely, lovely aura and a beautiful face. So I think, she's one to watch.
Okay. Well, as a brand ambassador of Miss Universe, what's your advocacy that you can offer to the brand?
So for me, my personal advocacy is elder care and elder engagement. And the reason why I'm looking towards the seniors is not only because 1 in 6 people by 2030 will be above the age of 60 globally, but because personally, I've been very touched by the elders in my life. My grandma's 97 and she raised me. My parents were both working adults, so I spent a lot of time with my grandma when I was young. And she unfortunately suffered a fall in 2021, 22. And, to see your grandma, who's like an
Mhm.
immortal figure in your life, be someone who looks so fragile, that was something that personally touched me. And it made me look at the elders in our society, and I noticed that, sometimes they're quite alone, they're disconnected, and they're disengaged from the rest of the community. But, just because you get your first gray hair doesn't mean you're not doing wonderful things with your life. You can be 74 and still a part of a dance troupe. You can still be active in your community and you can still give back to your community and engage. So I thought, why not connect us deeper to our elders? Because they have so much to teach us still. So for me personally, working with the Singapore's Women's Association, coming in 2025, now that I have the platform of Miss Universe Singapore,
Mhm.
I am driving an initiative that will connect our youths to our seniors. So the
Mhm.
idea is that seniors will get some engagement, get that interaction, but youths can also get mentorship from their seniors and also mentorship from the organization and get more involved in the community, get an understanding of how to run their own initiative so that even if they're not doing an initiative in elder care, they can go out into the community and champion what they are most passionate about.
Oh, thank you so much for that. That's also very close to my heart, the elderly. I love your advocacy. Okay, and the last question for sure is, why should you be the next Miss Universe?
I think Miss Universe, she's not just a representation of herself, she's also a representation of the voices around the world. For me, I'm a storyteller by trade. In public relations, I tell people stories every day. So, as Miss Universe, I not only want to share my own story, but I want to share the stories of the people around me and give a voice and platform to the people who are more voiceless in the community, people who can't always share their stories and put their issues forward. I want to be the person who can do that for them as Miss Universe.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, one last thing. I want you to get your crown and say your name and tell the whole world that you will be the next Miss Universe as a manifestation.
As a manifestation. Okay. My name is Charlotte Lucille Chia. I'm your new Miss Universe 2024.
Very nice. Thank you so much,
Thank you for
Charlotte.
having
Thank you
me.
so much. I'll see you in Mexico. Nos
I'll
vemos
see
en
you
Mexico.
very soon.
Bye.
Bye.